A poor fisherman once bargained with a mermaid for wealth, promising her his first daughter in return. 18 years later, the sea rises to claim its debt, and his daughter must face the haunting truth of her father's betrayal. Welcome to African Story by Ria Man. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you never miss any of our emotional and unforgettable stories. The night it began, the sea was not calm. Waves crashed against the shore of Obasai, as if they wanted to swallow the land whole. Thunder rumbled in the clouds, and lightning tore the sky into pieces. Fishermen who had gone out to sea returned with empty nets, their faces tight with fear. Only one man stayed behind, Okon, the strongest fisherman in the village. Okon's wife was pregnant then. 4 months, they had been living in hunger. His nets caught nothing. His hooks came back bare. Even the smallest fishes had abandoned him. The elders whispered that the gods were punishing him, but Okon did not care for whispers. Hunger does not listen to excuses. That night, as the storm grew, Okon stood alone at the edge of the sea. His feet sank into wet sand. His hands trembled around the net he carried. He had heard the old stories. If a man was desperate enough, he could call upon the spirits of the deep. He knew what that meant, but desperation makes a man foolish. "Mami water," he shouted into the wind. His voice was carried away by the storm. "Give me fish. Give me wealth. My family is starving. Help me, and I will give you anything you want." The waves grew wilder, as if answering his cry. Then the sea became strangely calm. Out of the water rose a figure more beautiful than anything Okon had ever seen. Her skin glistened like moonlight on water. Her hair floated around her head like seaweed. Her eyes were deep and endless, like the ocean itself. She was Mami Water. Okon fell to his knees. "You call me," she said, her voice like music and thunder mixed together. "You beg for wealth and fish. But what will you give me in return?" Okon's heart pounded. He thought of his wife. He thought of the hunger in his belly. He thought of the shame of watching his family starve while other men returned from the sea with baskets of fish. "Anything," he whispered. Mami Water's smile was sharp. "Then listen, fisherman. When your first daughter is born, she will belong to me. You will raise her, love her, and feed her. But when she turns 18, you will bring her to the sea. She will walk into the waves, and she will not return. That is the price of your wealth. Do you accept?" Okon's body shook, but the hunger in his stomach was louder than his fear. He nodded. The mermaid spread her arms, and suddenly, fish leapt into the air all around him. His net filled to bursting, heavy with silver bodies. The sea roared again, and then the spirit was gone. That night, Okon returned with more fish than anyone in the village had seen in years. His name spread. People said he was favored by the gods. His wife gave birth to a baby girl, and they named her Ngozi, meaning blessing. But in the silence of his heart, Okon knew it was not a blessing. It was a debt. And one day, the sea would come to collect. 18 years passed like smoke. Ngozi grew into a young woman whose beauty made heads turn wherever she walked. Her laughter was bright, her heart kind, and her presence carried a lightness that made people love her. To her, life was simple. She did not know the promise her father had made the night she was born. Okon, now an old man with grey in his hair and fear in his eyes, carried the weight of that promise in silence. Each time he watched his daughter smile, he felt the sea pressing down on him. He had given her life, but the ocean owned her soul. It was during the Harmattan season when strange things began to happen in the village. Fishermen who had gone out to sea began to disappear. Nets came back torn to pieces. Some nights, people claimed they heard singing from the waves, a woman's voice, sweet but haunting. Those who followed the sound were never seen again. One evening, Ngozi was walking by the shore when she heard it. A song so beautiful it made her heart ache. She stepped closer to the water, and the waves seemed to reach for her ankles. She would have gone further if not for her grandmother, Mama Eka, who grabbed her hand and pulled her back sharply. "Don't listen, child," Mama Eka warned, her voice trembling. "That is no song for you." But Ngozi was stubborn. "It was calling my name," she whispered. Her grandmother's face darkened. She dragged Ngozi back home and went straight to Okon. "It is time," she said. "The debt is calling." Ngozi looked between them, confused. What debt? Her father could not speak. His lips trembled. Tears filled his eyes. Finally, Mama Eka told her everything: the storm, the mermaid, the promise made for fish and wealth, the price of her life. At first, Ngozi laughed bitterly. "This is madness. A story to frighten children. My life belongs to no one but me." But that night, when she closed her eyes, she dreamed of the sea. She saw a woman with hair of flowing water, her eyes shining like stars. The woman stretched out her arms and whispered, "Come home, Ngozi. The time has come." Ngozi woke up screaming. The village grew restless as storms began to rise even when the sky was clear. The elders called for a meeting. They told Okon that he had no choice. He must give his daughter to the sea, or the entire village would drown. Ngozi's heart broke. Betrayed by the father she loved, hunted by a sea spirit she had never wronged, she realized there was no escape. But deep inside, a fire began to burn. If she must face the sea, she would not do so as a lamb led to slaughter. She would fight. The night of the sacrifice came. The moon was hidden by clouds, and the waves hissed against the shore like snakes. Villagers gathered in silence, holding torches that flickered weakly in the wind. Ngozi was dressed in white, her hair braided with cowries, her wrists tied with palm fronds. She walked slowly, her face pale but her eyes steady. Her father could not meet her gaze. The priest began to chant. The waves rose higher, and the song returned, sweet, haunting, irresistible. Ngozi felt her feet move on their own, carrying her toward the water. But before she stepped into the sea, she turned and shouted, "If I must die, let the truth be known. My father traded me for fish. The elders protected him for years. They fed on his wealth while they prepared me for the ocean's mouth. If the sea wants blood, let it take theirs too." Gasps spread through the crowd. Whispers rose like fire. Suddenly, the water split, and from it rose Mami Water herself. She was more beautiful and terrifying than words could describe. Her hair floated in the air, her body shimmering with scales. Her voice thundered over the shore, "Bring her to me." Ngozi stepped forward, but she did not bow. "If you want me, spirit, take me. But know this, I will not go alone." She bit into her palm, letting blood drip into the sand. The sea roared. Thunder cracked. The villagers screamed as the water surged forward, sweeping torches into darkness. Okon fell to his knees, weeping. "Forgive me, child. I did this to save us. Forgive me." Mami Water's eyes glowed. A debt is a debt. But perhaps, she turned her gaze on the trembling fisherman. The one who made the promise should pay the price. Before anyone could move, the waves wrapped around Okon's body and dragged him screaming into the sea. The storm raged, then calmed just as suddenly. The water returned to silence. Ngozi fell to the sand, shaking. She was alive. The villagers surrounded her, their faces pale with fear and shame. None of them dared speak. From that day on, Ngozi carried the mark of the sea. Her eyes glowed faintly at night, and she could hear the ocean whispering her name. The fishermen never saw Mami Water again, but they knew the debt had not truly ended. It had only changed hands. The moral lesson of the story is that no wealth gained through deceit or dark bargains ever lasts. The sins and selfish choices of parents often fall upon their children, and the price of greed is always greater than the promise of riches. True prosperity comes from patience, honesty, and sacrifice, not from trading lives for wealth.